Today we have Fire Chief Billy Hayes with us. Thank you so much for coming to answer a few of the questions 5th grade students are wondering about. Why did you choose this job?
Well, thanks for having me here today, Josie. I chose this job when I was 19 years old. I had a lot of interest in the emergency field. I grew up as a kid watching a TV show called Emergency, so I always kind of had that flair. My dad was an Atlanta firefighter before I was actually born, so it kind of was in the blood, but it seemed like an exciting job to be able to help people and grow a career, a stable career that you could grow in, so that's the reason I chose the fire service.
I was wondering that too. Have you ever had to save an animal?
I have had to save an animal. A funny story about firefighters are always trying to save cats out of trees. I did actually have to do that one time. So we had got on a ladder, climbed up the ladder, and then I came off the ladder, which I wasn't supposed to do, but I had to go up a couple more branches to get this kitty cat. So then I got the cat, who was very scared, handed it down to the partner of mine who was at the top of the ladder, and the cat got even more scared, and he didn't have his turnout coat on, so the cat started scratching his arm, and he wound up throwing the cat down anyway. So I have had to save a cat out of a tree, but yes, I've been in fire situations where puppies and cats hide and because they're not scared or they're not sure what to do, and we have to rescue them. So that is something that we do on just like with people.
I was wondering that one.
Okay.
What is the toughest fire you have ever put out?
I've had several fires that have been difficult. Probably one of the most dangerous fires that any firefighter could ever face is wildland fires, like you've seen out in California, because fire, once you learn science, and this is the important part about science, and firefighters, as we go through recruit school, we learn about more science, is you need 3 things to make fire happen: fuel, heat, and oxygen. And as fires grow, they consume more oxygen, but they also tend to create their own environment, their own wind. And so out west, when they have these wildland fires, in which we could have them here in the Coulee region as well, as wildland fires tend to grow, they bring air in. So winds shift, and there's different things that may happen. So we have to be prepared as to how the fire may shift. And we lose a lot of firefighters every year because of wildland fires. But then also structure fires. Buildings often collapse, and that's the reason why we tell people to get out of the house as quickly as possible. So when you're deep into a fire and you can't get to the seat of the fire, where that's actually the big part of the fire, it tends to spread. So they're very difficult to fight, especially the wildland fires. That's the toughest.
Yeah, I have a comment about that.
Okay.
So my dad is a firefighter, and he works in La Crosse now.
Okay.
And he used to be in the Onalaska. There was this big fire. My dad, he actually fought in that fire, and it was in a house, and the garage burned down, and some of the other siding from the other house.
Right.
That burnt and melted, and so my dad, it was so scary because he was just there, and I was like a couple houses down from him,
right,
at my aunt's house. So that was kind of scary for me because I've been in that situation too.
We just recently had one last month where one house was burning. The garage was what we call fully involved. It was fully involved with fire, but it was burning so hot that it also spread to the neighbor's house, and their house was burning. So essentially we had 2 houses burning at one time. So it does happen.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about life.
Yep.
Do you ever burn things on purpose, like old buildings or houses?
We have done that in the past, and the purpose for that is when a house may be donated to the fire department because it's going to be torn down anyway, we get the opportunity to train in it. So we may do search and rescue drills, we may actually set it on fire so we can go in and practice putting the fire out so we get better at it when a real emergency comes in. So yes, we have done that in the past.
That's interesting. What do you do when there aren't any fires?
Well, I hang out with Josie and Autumn at the elementary school doing interviews. But a fire chief's position, we do a lot of things called human resource management. So we make sure that policies are correct. We do budgeting, we do planning, we do fire inspections. The firefighters will often do things such as training, vehicle maintenance. So there's a lot of things that we do outside of just responding to calls, but we have to be very proficient and ready to respond.
Yeah, my dad, since he's a firefighter and he sometimes doesn't have any calls to do, he says he just sits around and watches TV.
Okay, I'm sure he does a lot more than that.
Sometimes trains.
Yeah. Okay.
And he works out too.
Yep, there you go.
What are your hobbies?
My hobbies, well, I don't have a lot of hobbies because I tend to work a lot, but I do like to play golf and get out for some physical exercise. I like to travel, and I like to play with my puppy. I have a chocolate lab puppy, so.
I have 3 kitties.
Yep, so that's what I like to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to coming back and seeing you again. Bye-bye.